This is the new Dacia Duster. It's completely new. New look, new interior, new tech, new engines. Oh my gosh, a new gas struts on the bonnet and a new chassis. Though tell you the truth, both the engines and the chassis are completely new. They're based on the current Rena capture, but they are new to data in this video. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this car, including the good things, such as this weird feature, and the bad things, including the brakes. Watching CarWow, the main selling point of the D-Duster was its low price. So back when the car was first introduced in 2012, it started from £99,000. This new one starts from £18,000. It's doubled in price. But then I guess you got to account for inflation, and actually the previous Dacia Duster went off sale last year, 2023, and the starting price then was £17,000. So this new version is only £1,000 more, and this car is all new and way more modern, including the engines. Though there is a slight problem here, you used to be able to get the Duster with a 1.5-liter diesel engine, and that was my favorite engine. However, the diesel is no more. You can still get a 1-liter bi-fuel with 100 horsepower, but now there's a new one. 0.2-liter turbo with 130 horsepower, or this 1.6L hybrid with 140 horsepower. So it replaces the diesel as the economical option. However, the diesel could do 59 miles per gallon. This is supposed to do 55 miles to the gallon. We'll find out exactly what it does a little later in this video. One thing about this compared to the diesel, though it's quicker to 60 miles per hour, though not by as much as you may think. So the diesel was supposed to do not to 60 in 10.2 seconds. This hybrid is supposed to do it in 10.1 seconds. But what's the reality? I'm going to find out now with my specialist timing gear up here. Let's launch it. 3, 2, 1, go smooth. But what's the time? 10.2 seconds, the same as the diesel. In reality, however, there is one way that this hybrid is night and day better than the old diesel. It's just so much smoother and easier to drive in town. So being a hybrid at low speeds, you can just drive around on electric power alone, and obviously got an automatic gearbox as well, which just makes life easy. It's just so much more expensive feeling. The old car just had a budget vibe about it. Whereas this doesn't now. The suspension does feel firmer than the old Duster, but it's not uncomfortable. At a bit larger than it was before in the old Kite. It's 10.9 M instead of 10.7. I'll just see how maneuverable it is. We go right now. I should be able to use my reversing camera if I can't make it round, but I think I'm going to, it's tight enough really, isn't it? Wait a minute. The infotainment screen's kind of stuck in some weird limbo. I think it's on the camera setting, but it's not. Don't know what's going on. It's like it's lost its mind. I'm going to pull over, do the old fashion, turn it off and on again, see what happens, right? So turn the car off, weirdness. Park, get out, and then get back in again after I've cycled it. I've got keyless go, so I need to step away from the car, otherwise it'll unlock it again. But let's give it a few minutes, see if it can sort itself out. Look, here comes an old Duster. Be quite interesting to compare the look of them. See if the driver checks this new one out. Not at all. I don't think even recognize it as being a Duster, because they're so different. Actually looks more similar to the Volvo, doesn't it? Away anyway. Hopefully that's long enough. Let's see if it's working now. Come on, work. Yes, it's booting up. Good, fixed, not fixed. Let's just carry on anyway, right? One thing about this new Duster compared to the old one is the visibility. So while we've got really big door mirrors, which is great, I don't think this is a good view out the front. This wind-see screen seems shallower than on the old car, so it's a bit more like you cocooned in the car. The back window isn't very deep, either wide but not very deep, and then while you do have these extra little windows in the back pillar, there's still quite a bit of a blind spot. But do you know what? I can forgive this car for the reduced visibility compared to the old one, because there is a trade-off. The new Duster just looks so much better. The old one looked a little bit old-fashioned, and you kind of forgave its looks because you knew it was cheap and capable. This one, though, you actually want it, not because of the price. It just looks desirable. I would gladly have one of these. It's a great-looking car down the side as well. We'll start at 16 and maybe a bit too small, but these ones 18, and they look the part. There's the right amount of rugged-looking cladding as well. And this plastic is actually made from 20% recycled materials. Plus, it's made in a way called dyed-in form. Apparently, that means that it doesn't show up scratches so much. So if you go through some bushes, it should be fine. But let's have a look. Well, I just did that with my nail. And yet it's scratched, and it's not coming off. I'm calling BS on that. I'm afraid that moving down the side roof bars look thart blacked out windows for that kind of like urban look. And you have hidden door handles. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of door handles, but they do help give the car clean lines moving down the back, actually. In the press pack, it says it's got rear drum brakes, like the old Duster. But these are discs. I'm calling BS again. Dio, what's going on? Let's move around. The back, do you know what? There is absolutely nothing in the way this car looks that says it's a budget vehicle. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. However, its budget price is a little bit betrayed on the inside. You see, the material quality in here is fairly low rent. So scratchy literally everywhere. And there is no light for the vanity mirror. I mean, how much would that have cost? That you have put that on? You could have put that on. Also, the definition of the reversing camera. It looks like this actually. Rest of the tech is fine. So, you got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And that's really what you're going to run all the time, isn't it? And you got wireless connectivity as well. Plus, I love the fact that we got physical buttons for the climate control, so you don't have to do it through the screen. Whoa. Let's slow down, right? You've also got quite a decent digital driver's display with lots of different menus and functions, so that's all good. But my favorite thing is just the design. It looks cool in here, so much better than the old Dacia Duster. And there's some other things I like as well. This hybrid, because you're boosted by the electric motor, just feels so much more responsive than the old diesel did when you put your foot down. And while it does kind of make a bit of noise when you rev it up, it's still much quieter than that gnarly old diesel. And when you're cruising along speed, the whole car is just quieter than it was before. Just a bit of wind noise here, but there's not much road noise. It really is just a much easier long-distance companion than the Duster has ever been. I mean, granted, it's not quite as like comfy on a cruise as a Volkswagen T-Roc, but really this is pretty blooming good as for the economy, while I'm currently averaging 49 miles per gallon. Though yesterday, before I did the launch and everything like that, it was averaging 50 mpg, and I like a car that can do over 50 mpg. There's also something else I like about this new Duster. If you're changing your car, then you gotta check out Car, because there's nothing quite like knowing that you're getting a great price. Both when selling your old car and finding a new one car makes all the stuff that's hard work about car changing, like the haggling, the no-shows, and the nasty surprises, a thing of the past. Life changing. Now, if you want to go a car, well, right now, I'll put a link in the description of this video and the ping comment. Alternatively, you can click on the pop-out banner appearing in the top right hand on the screen now, or scan the QR code on screen using your mobile phone to go directly there. Car change car. Wow, there's lads of room here in the back seat, so decent amount of knee room. You can really slightly feet underneath the chair in front, and there's loads of foot space as well, plus the seats are quite high from the floor, so you've got lots of under-thigh support. There's loads of headroom. It's great. Also, it's easy to fit a child seat in here as well. Yes, the ISOFIX points are behind zips, but there's so much space in there. Look, once you open them up, it's dead easy to locate them, and there's loads of space as well for even a bulky rear-facing seat. To be fair, the old Duster was pretty spacious in the back. Not quite as spacious as this, but sometimes you could get a little bit travel sick because of the way it went down the road. A little kind of like, would it be the same story with this one? Well, they're much less likely to reason being because you got slightly stiffer suspension than before. The car doesn't lull up about in the bends like it used to. Just stays flatter, doesn't lean so much. It was more precise and more controlled, which is good, but you do sometimes feel it fidget about a little bit over rougher surfaces, and you can actually get a version with four-wheel drive. And that has more sophisticated rear suspension, and it'll probably deal with like imperfections of the road slightly better, because the back wheels aren't linked to one another by a bar, like they are with this particular car. Also, another benefit of the four-wheel drive version is if it's a bit wet, like it is now, and you put your foot down while exiting a bend, you can feel the car struggle for grip with the four-wheel drive version. Of course, it can send some power to the rear wheels to help push you out of the corner, but generally overall this car handles pretty well and way better than before. And that brings on to 5 cool things about the new Dacia Duster. The four-wheel drive version of the Duster has different off-road modes, so you've got mud sand, there's a snow setting, there's an auto that figures it all out for you, play to get hill descent control. Now, if you want to find out what my favorite version of the Dacia Duster is in terms of the engine trim level and so on and so forth, I've actually configured my favorite car on the car configurator. If you want to see what it is and how much you can save on it through Car W, click on the pop-out banner appearing in the top right-hand corner of the screen, or if you're watching on a smart TV, just scan the QR code on screen now with your mobile phone. You can get the call with something called UK Clip. Now don't worry, it's nothing to do with Nigel Farage. It's actually these extra little practicality add-ons. So there's this cup holder that has a torch on it that you can charge up from one of these USB-C port, and it has a little hook there as well. Then you just attach it there. Look, see, there's another one in the front. This one is for your mobile phone, and it clips on here, and there's some other ones which clip onto there and there, but they can't find them in the car. I think the gist that had it before me has probably misplaced them. There is a configurable safety button, and you can actually configure it so that everything's off. And if you want to turn everything off, you just press it twice, huh? You can get the car with an Alco lock immobilizer, so you actually have to do a breath test before the Cole lets you drive it. You can get something called an in-nature pack, which includes a mattress which has been specifically designed to fit in here and fill in these gaps. So there's enough space and comfort for you to sleep in. And that brings me on to the boot capacity. The hybrid version of the Duster has 430 liters of load space, which is less than its key competitors. However, the non-hybrid has 520 liters of space, which is actually pretty good. And to be fair, this hybrid has some decent functionality in this particular trim. So look, there is no load lip because you have a false floor. And as you can see underneath here, you can fit the load cover, which is a win for me, means it's not going to get thrown anywhere. And the space itself, look, it's nice and square and useful, but what about storage to the rest of the vehicle so the rear door bins aren't the largest, but you can just about fit a normal bottle in there. The pockets on the back of the seats are quite big, though, so there's room for a big bottle in there. If you want to carry it and annoy the person sat in front, the front door bins are big enough for a big bottle. In fact, there's room for two good job because the glove box is rather small because half of it is taken up by the fuse box. You do have storage here with wireless charging USB-C's 12-volt socket. There's another storage shelf there, decent amount of space underneath the armrest. But that brings on to 5 annoying things about this car. And the first is this look. While you have one cup holder there, the other cup holder is there, and it's kind of a bit awkward to get at this new Duster. Has a 3-star Euro end cap safety rating, which to the effect isn't very good. However, it mainly loses stars because it doesn't have some of the IVE safety systems or pedestrian protection that you have on other cars in terms of actual occupant safety. It's similar to the current Renault Capture, though still a way off. Renault's latest car, the new Cake, there is no padding on the door armrest at all. Well, there is some here, and it's absolutely fine. That is just really hard. So if you're driving long lot up, like most people do when you're like cruising on a long distance, it actually gives you elbow ache. I have come up with a cost-conscious solution, and it's this: a sponge. As you'll see when I shut the door, they don't cover the sills. That means that any dirt that goes on there when you're getting in and out, you rub your jeans and thermal, and you get all over your trousers. Instead of a full detailed manual, you just get this little pamphlet with the car. If you want the car's full manual, you have to scan this QR code here and get it downloaded onto your phone. So I'm going to try and fix infotainment system by pulling the fuse for it. Infotainment screens can stuck in some weird limbo, so I'm just scanning this there with me, okay? So I've got the thing here now finally for the fuses. Wait a minute, maybe it's not exactly the same, that there's some other fuses that are in there that aren't on here, doesn't quite match up. But which is the one for the radio number 7? Where's 7 on here? Oh, there's 3, there is. Could it be that one that doesn't line up exactly? Maybe it's that. I reckon it could be that. All right, I'm gonna give this one a go. I'm gonna pull this fuse. Let's see if in the T-ment system goes out. Yay! How did I manage to get that? Let's turn it off. Why can't I turn the car off, like the ignition off? And that's the thing with these guys. You can't turn the ignition off the time, right? Let's put this back in. Oh, it's finally turned itself off. Look. See, after time, it's turned itself off. It's back in right moment of truth. Come on, what you gonna do? It's on. Come on. Don't. This is yes, victory. That actually brings me on to my final verdict on the new Dacia Duster. So should you avoid it? Consider it shortlisted, or just go right ahead and buy it? It was so close to being an avoid it, but seeing as the infotainment system was dead easy to fix, I actually think you should go right ahead and buy the new Dacia Duster. It really is still great value for money, but it's a much better car than it ever was before. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and please subscribe to the channel for more videos and see you in the next video.